Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Parksy here, your coach of the Armagh is bringing back the smash today here for DGBA Season 9, Week number 10, where your Armados are going to be going against the Chelsea King Pokemon Club, coached by the Igronauts. And he's got a pretty interesting season and a very interesting team that we'll be sure to dissect. But if you haven't already, make sure to go check out the previous video so that you do not get spoiled for any of the previous brings that I do. Previous things I bring up in this video should appear now. Just would be referring to some mons that I brought up previously, maybe some strategies, and most importantly, how I won/lost. Make sure to go do so because I'm about to spoil it. But we did manage to beat our opponent Ratatamen in a very controversial battle. Not controversial at the battle itself, but I guess my narration apparently. Zygarde does not get flamethrower. I was mistaken, and everyone in the DGBA made fun of me for that. So I apologize. I meant hidden power fire. I could have sworn that Zygarde got a flamethrower. It's just one of those Pokemon that feel like it should get the move, but hidden power fire. I'm sorry. But we're going to be going up against Igronauts. He is currently 4 and 5 at a -4 differential, I believe. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. My team, of course, as always, is Crobat, Azelf, Alolan Persian, Heliolisk, Zygarde, Mega Scizor, Volcanion, Chestnut, Sylveon, Swampert, and Aurorus. We're facing off against another 10 Pokemon team. I believe this is the 3rd or 4th team we've actually played against that has 10 Pokemon. That is Greninja, Protein, which cannot use Gunk Shot or U-Turn, so it still has access to Z Crystals. It's still a Protein Greninja, but doesn't have the access to those two moves. He's got Starmie. He's got Thundurus, he's got Kartana, Celebi, Darmanitan, Kabutops, Alolan Mega Steelix, and Aromatisse. Now, there are a few things, of course, about his team that I will be nitpicking about, and I always like to nitpick with various teams. But firstly, I just need to preference that this is the final battle of the regular season. After this, we will be going into playoffs. Fortunately, I am guaranteed to get into playoffs, but I want to make sure that I have a strong showing of this battle because potentially we can actually snag seed number 1 in Evolves. Manly Soap, who is currently 8 and 1, losing a game by a respectable amount of differential, and me winning by a respectable amount of differential. But if all that happens, we can actually snag the number 1 seed. Now, that isn't important in the way that like maybe some other tournaments. It's not like I get a bye or anything, but it just means that generally from a statistic base, completely ignoring matchups and things like that, I will be against a little bit of an easier opponent, as of course the 8th person will be playing against the 1st, 7th against 2nd, etc. And it's looking like my opponent is either going to be Luke, Spoink, or Babalno, so either one of them three are most likely going to be my opponent. But, you know, I'm just going to try and hope to win this game as well. So Igronauts, I believe, is actually, again, depending on the win-losses of other people that are a little bit higher than him, he also has a chance to snag one of the bottom seeds in playoffs. So this is a very important game for both of us in terms of positioning for playoffs, or in Igronauts' case, for getting into it in general. So I think that he's going to bring a very scary team because he has to pull out all the stops. So he's got a very scary team. His offensive core is absolutely terrifying with the Greninja. He's got Starmie, which pretty much gets a kill every single time it comes in versus any team, and my team is no exception with its analytic life orb set, just being able to crush my team. He's got Thundurus, which of course is a great mix breaker. Could be special. It also gets access to things like Defiant and Bulk Up, which can also be options. It can be a great ZU move user, and he's also got Kartana, Celebi, which is just really good wall, as well as also being a potential Can Sweeper. He's got Darmanitan, which is just absolutely scary, and I love that Pokemon. And then he's got just Kabutops, which is kind of like Stealth Rocks and Hazard Control, and then some really bulky Pokemon, which is his Alolan for Pursuit Trapping, and then Mega Steelix and Aromatisse finally. So a few things to note about his team is that he's got 3 water types, but they're all not what I would consider defensive water types. Kabutops kind of on the physical side, not really though, especially due to that abusable 4x grass weakness. So something to note is that he's got 3 water types, but none of them are actually really good bulky water types. I think he's taken a leaf out of Jeremy's book there, with just picking up Greninja and hoping. Yeah, he's also got the defensive core that leans on a lot, the Mega Steelix and the Aromatisse. So if I can wear down those two Pokemon, then I should be good. So I just have to make sure that I can keep them weakened, and that ultimately I should be able to execute my game plan. I'm pretty sure that's about it that I want to say. Also, yeah, I forgot to say that he's got a massive speed gap between the Kabutops and the Makalula, meaning that some might be 70s and 60s, which are like half my team. Really aren't pressured to run that much speed in this game. The only reason I'd want to is for counter speed creeping in case he's running a really fast Muck, or in case they want to outspeed, min speed, rapid spin support Kabutops in this game. But without further ado, let's get into the team. So the first Pokemon I'm deciding to bring is my Mega Scizor, not a sweeper variant like I believe I brought for the past few games. This is just going to be purely support with the default quick attack, roost, and U-turn. Mega Scizor was my best hazard removal in this game, and I do think he's got hazard stack. Oh no, he does have hazard stack, never mind. He has got a hazard stack with access to Toxic Spike, Spikes, Stealth Rock, so I have to make sure that I have some sort of removal in case that Greninja Protein is going to be some sort of 3 attacks Toxic Spike variant. So carrying default on this thing. I've also got quick attack since a lot of his offensive threats, pretty much all of them in fact, like the Protein Greninja, the Starmie, the Thundurus, the Darmanitan, they all resist steel, so it's just better for me in the long run to just run quick attack since they get a little bit more damage output, and it also puts things like Protein Greninja most notably into range of a Pokemon that I'll get into later. And then I've just got Roost to retain reliable recovery, and U-turn, and then this Pokemon is just a really good response to Aromatisse. Due to my special bulk, I'll just constantly be able to come in versus far off U-turns, and then be also able to take a hit from the Protein Greninja and Starmie if necessary, and fire off a really powerful U-turn. So pretty much Mega Scizor is just there to take a hit and also remove hazards if needs be. The next Pokemon on my team is a very surprising variant of Swampert. Swampert, of course, did pretty good in my battle versus JJ Gal, so I decided, you know what, okay, it earns its title back. I'll call it Grundy. So we are bringing a very bulky variant of Swampert with the Rindo Berry, allowing me to be a potential Kartana lure, as if any of you guys have played against a Kartana isn't going to be coming in against the fire type. You need to make sure you have some sort of extra lure, and as a person who got I believe 5-0 swept back Kartana a couple years back, yeah, it's really important that you do have a reliable response and then also a lure to it. So I've got the Rindo Berry on this. It also allows me to take a hit from a Grass and Thundurus if necessary, and then lower it down for Icy Wind to put it into the speed range where I can send out some of my slower and more offensive mons to take care of that. And then finally I've also got Skull just as a really good option to burn some of the things like the Makalula, the Mega Steelix, and then just other members of his team. And finally Stealth Rocks, since he's got some removal on his team like the Starmie, but he really doesn't want to be running removal on some of his mons like Kartana, like Thundurus, like Starmie, Kabutops even. Doesn't really want to run Rapid Spin and just come into games generally. So I do have the Stealth Rock there. And that's pretty much it, just a Pokemon that can take a hit on the physical and special side, and it's going to be my main switch in a lot of the time to Darmanitan, so I have to make sure to keep it healthy as well. The next Pokemon on my team is going to be the Draconium Z variant with Zygarde. This thing absolutely mauls him. I had a few calcs pretty much a +1. I can be doing about 60% to most of his team, meaning that it's really important that I can ship down his wall core like the Mega Steelix and the Aromatisse, as even though they can't knock me out with any one hit, definitely does weaken me down into range of something like a Scarf Thundurus if he wants to bring up, more than likely a Scarf Kartana, and maybe something like a Water Shuriken Protein Greninja if he's going to bring that as well. We've got a very standard set: Dragon Dance, Extreme Speed, Thousand Arrows, and the Outrage. This is a very good Pokemon again versus this team mid to late game, to be able to just either break his team to the point where my other offensive mon could just completely go in, or else just win, which is the more likely situation. Is after a Dragon Dance I can outspeed the entirety of his team, and even if he does decide to revenge kill with a Choice Scarf Thundurus with Hidden Power Ice, I should be able to take it out with a little bit of prior chip on that. So that's all really good. I might also have to take a hit with my Zygarde versus the Darmanitan, so we'll have to see. But really, he really lacks really good counterplay to this Pokemon, since he's got Pokemon that are good responses, like the Celebi 2000 arrows, but they can't really do a whole lot. Like Celebi's Hidden Power Ice to some variants of Zygarde doesn't even 2-hit KO, and that's coming from a 4-time super effective attack. And Defog Celebi can potentially lose to the substitute variant. In fact, Dazzling Gleam to some Zygarde variants it really struggles to break. So yeah, Celebi is a tough defensive, well, actual response to Zygarde, just because it can't really threaten it with that much. So that's also something that I have to take into consideration, as the next member of this team is Sylveon, or my team, I guess. I don't know if I said his or my team, but again, with this investment, we can take a hit from Kartana, we can fire off Hidden Power Fire. It also prevents from Kartana being able to set up SD on us for free, since nobody wants to fight a +2 Kartana. And then we've just also got Hybrid Voice for some really nice stab. We're looking to damage those things like the Greninja really well. And we have also got Protect and Wish, because we want us to keep our Swampert alive, as well as Zygarde if it does have to take the hit in the event for the greater good of the team. Hidden Power Fire is also really nice for being able to chip down the Steelix a little bit, as otherwise we would just really not be able to hit it with that much. I mean, Hidden Power Fire still doesn't do that much to Steelix, but at least it's something. So with our special defense investment, it also allows us to take hits from the Protein Greninja, as I believe Haz was talking about this in the DGBA channel, which is linked down below in the description, so you should check it out, since I always link it down there. But I believe Haz was talking about Protein Greninja once, and that we chose those specific restrictions because it means that Fairy type Pokemon could be better responses to it, and that is what I'm going to do with my Sylveon, being able to take things like 2 Hydro Pumps from the Specs variant, and also being able to take hits from a Thundurus as well, and fire off a really powerful Hybrid Voice, of course putting it into range of Quick Attack. But this Pokemon is honestly something that I've been so excited to use, and I'm really disappointed in myself not being able to use it sooner, and that is a Choice Specs Volcanion. I can't remember the last time I used this. I think I brought a bulkier variant versus KHD. I can't remember, but I haven't brought Choice Specs Volcanion much, and all I can say is, wow, this thing, it just completely destroys up this game. I've literally got Fire Blast, Overheat, Steam Eruption, and Scald. Those are my dual stabs, and I've got 2 versions of them because I am not looking to lose PP whatsoever. I am looking to spam my attacks as far as my heart is content, since really, as Pokemon do not appreciate, even things like Greninja is still 2 KO'd by a Choice Spec Steam Eruption from this monster. That is just how powerful it is. So it really struggles good responses to Volcanion. It also allows me to offensively pressure the Aromatisse Steelix core, and be able to really provide some offensive pressure versus them, as Aromatisse doesn't really want to get burnt, and of course Steelix is just going to get mollywopped by my dual stab. That's pretty much it. He just really doesn't have a response to the dual stab of my Volcanion, with both fire and water coverage. I mean, all his Pokemon are pretty much 2 KO'd by this Choice Specs variant, and yeah, I just decided to run a Speedy Modest nature. I believe this is for Mint Speed Celebi, just in case of that, so I can get the jump point on that as well. But the final member of my team is, of course, a super standard Super Fang variant of Crobat, being able to chip down the Mega Steelix and Aromatisse in guaranteed range of my Zygarde. Of course, Taunt doesn't work on the Aromatisse, who are more importantly trying to chip down the Steelix with this variant, and of course Aromatisse doesn't really want a chance going up against the Crobat, and even if it does, then I can U-turn out into my Volcanion. Something that I also forgot to say about the Volcanion is that my Steam Eruption into Quick Attack should be able to, it's either Steam Eruption or Overheat into Quick Attack from a Mega Scizor, should be able to knock out standard variants of Protein Greninja, so that's something as well. And I've just got U-turn on this Crobat set just for a little bit more momentum versus this team, as again, being able to have 2 U-turners is very nice, since he does have a Celebi, and the more U-turners you can have your team against a team with Celebi, it really is just going to be able to pressure that Pokemon a whole lot, as it really just doesn't want to come in on any U-turning mons whatsoever, and that's kind of why I just don't really draft Celebi. I know I drafted it about 2 years ago, but that was about it. But that's pretty much it. That's my team. It is just going to be a really classic, just chip into Zygarde, Draconium Z sweep. But this is going to be my team, and this is what I expect my opponent to bring. Of course, Protein Greninja, 3 attacks probably makes the most sense. It could be Ice Beam, Hidden Part Fire, Hydro Pump. It could be some sort of variant like that. It could pack on coverage. It could be hidden part poison if it wants to hit my Sylveon harder. It could be extra sensory. It could be tons of different things. It could also be Choice Scarf to try and respond to my Zygarde +1 better. But yeah, it's Protein Greninja. You bring it every single game. It can just do so many things, and that's why it's one of the biggest threats in the DGBA. But next up is Celebi. Again, a really good defensive wall. Able to take hits from the Zygarde better. I do think it comes as some sort of Calm Mind 3 attacks variants, maybe just Calm Mind and then some like Psychic, Hit Part Fire it could run. But I don't really know if being a defensive Toxic Mon is going to be really the best versus my team, as I don't think he gets as much mileage out of that. As well as I'm also having a better Stealth Rocker in my opinion. It could be a Heal Bell user and save up a slot on Aromatisse. I'm not too sure, but I think that it definitely comes as some sort of Calm Mind breaker. In my opinion, next up is Aromatisse. Of course, being able to pass off Fat Wishes to my team really is its best response to the Zygarde, and being able to fire off Moonblast, it will be able to KO it, no questions asked. It also does have access to Cleric abilities in Heal Bell, and can also potentially stall out a Grounding Z move from my Zygarde as well. Protect, such as Aromatisse, really annoying, really fat. Next up is Thunderous. Again, it could be Choice Scarf. I think that it probably is going to more than likely come as just a wall breaker with Life Orb. I mean, it really depends. If he doesn't, I feel like he has to bring a Scarfer on this team to be able to check a +1 Zygarde. So it might be this, it might be the Greninja, but ultimately Thunderous is a really scary breaker versus my team. Its ability to have ice coverage and grass coverage really annoys my combination of Swampert and Zygarde, and is one of the very few electric types that I think is very viable versus me and forces me into a lot of uncomfortable positions. Next up is the Mega Steelix. Again, probably something like Ice Fang, Fire Fang, even Earthquake and Stealth Rocks could be a set. It could have Roar for once to be a certain type of phaser, but yeah, I think that some sort of 3 attack Stealth Rock variant is probably makes the most sense in this game. Again, it's just so bulky. Like it can actually take hits from my Zygarde, which is the scariest thing due to its insane amount of physical defense. Really good dual typing as well versus my team offensively and defensively. And just the synergy between Aromatisse and Mega Steelix, I think, forms a really good backbone versus my team. And finally is the Darmanitan. I think that it could also come as a Choice Scarfer. It could come as a Choice Bander and really threaten my team. Life Orb also could be an option, but it really forces my Swampert to come in. If my Swampert gets too low, and even my Zygarde, well, this could be just completely over. Again, I think he needs a really good response to that Mega Scizor, which Darmanitan is, being able to, of course, take his dual stab and also fire off Flare Blitzes, which just Oko Mega Scizor about 3 times over. Darmanitan is absolutely insane. I love the Pokemon, just gets worn down a little bit too easily, but hey, every Pokemon has a weakness, unless you're Primal Groudon. So that's pretty much it for his team. I think that it is going to be a bit more on the bulkier balance side, with some good breakers trying to finish off the game with maybe Choice Scarf Greninja. But ultimately, let's get into the battle and let's see what he brought. Alright guys, so we are back with our battle against Agronauts, and he's pretty much brought the team that I expected. A few notable changes is that there's Starmie over the Aromatisse, and that there is Kabutops over the Mega Steelix, which is very funny because I thought out of all 10 Pokemon on his team, I thought that Kabutops was the 10th Pokemon that would come. I thought it was the least likely. I did not see myself whatsoever facing off against the Kabutops this game, but I guess he proved me wrong. So he's got a very offensive team, very few Pokemon here. I would class as a wall. The only Pokemon I'm really expecting is Celebi, which I guess is going to be a pseudo response to Zygarde and maybe have Hidden Power Fire for the Mega Scizor. But that pretty much makes my Draconium Z Zygarde even better, as once I get up to +1, I should be able to pretty much destroy the entirety of this team. So I'm going to have to make sure to get up Stealth Rocks as early as possible, and also be able to keep my Pokemon healthy, like my Sylveon, to respond to things like that Protein Greninja that could be very scary late game if I do stupidly let some of my responses to it get worn down. But I'm going to lead off my Crobat here, since it was supposed to be a wall breaker with the Taunt Super Fang, but he didn't bring the Steelix or anything that would have helped versus that. It would have helped versus the Muck as well. So I'm just going to lead off my Crobat, maybe fire off a U-turn or get off a Super Fang. So that's pretty much it. So here I'm going to go start off this game as he actually leads off with their Darmanitan. So I expect him to go for U-turn here. He should expect my Swampert to be a defensive switch, and if he does go for the Flare Blitz while I send in my Swampert, well, hey, I get a Stealth Rocks up turn 2. So I'm going to stay in as he does fire off the U-turn, revealing to be a Choice Scarf variant, like I did expect. So he is going to send out the Kabutops here, and interestingly enough, not reveal a weak armor. So I am expecting this to be some sort of early game Stealth Rock lead, maybe Rapid Spin, maybe just Dual Stabs, but some sort of support Kabutops variant to maybe try and take a hit from my Scizor and sort of respond to my Volcanion. But here he actually reveals the Sword Stance as I go for my Stealth Rock, so I thought that was very interesting, him not being weak armor. I think that was a mistake on his end, as he does say. He should have actually brought weak armor in the commentary, but even if he did reveal to be weak armor, I would have swapped out into Volcanion this turn on either the Volterium Z, which he actually goes for, or the Liquidization, and then into my Crobat, which I've already said is expendable, on the potential Rockinium Z, then if he didn't go for the Volterium Z. So I pretty much would have been able to sack off the Pokemon that was least useful to me this game, while also being able to preserve offensive momentum. And this Zygarde can take any one hit from the Kabutops, I believe. So I'm just going to fire off 1,000 arrows as he goes out into the Celebi, which is a good defensive response, but little does he know that that damage has perfectly set up his Celebi, especially since he doesn't reveal to be leftovers into range my +1 Draconium Z. So here I'm going to fire off a Dragon Dance, as interestingly enough, he takes this as the opportunity to set up Stealth Rocks, which I think was a very interesting setup on the Zygarde. He didn't go for something like a Toxic first, but I'm going to take it absolutely, as here I can just fire off my Z move. Something is going to get completely dropped, and unfortunately for Celebi, it seems like it's going to be the victim of this attack. So down is going to go Celebi. Unfortunately, I haven't weakened down Starmie and Greninja enough into range of 1,000 arrows, so I'm actually going to have to lock myself into Outrage to be able to get a little bit more damage output, so that I can actually put it into guaranteed range of an Oko. So down's going to go the Starmie, excuse me. As him pretty much going out into Starmie reveals to me that he isn't going to be something like a Protein Greninja with Choice Scarf, Ice Beam, as he's going to send it out, maybe going for Water Shuriken, but he doesn't even have that, and his Greninja is going to just completely drop this attack. As fortunately I do not get a confusion, meaning I can just easily fire off yet again another one of my really strong stabs, as he's going to go out to the tops, and down it is going to go, and just going to fire off this Outrage, and it is going to again just get knocked out. So this is pretty much going well so far. Unfortunately, we are confused, but even with his final two members of the team being Thundurus and Darmanitan, I should be able to beat down the rest of his team with a combination of Sylveon and Volcanion, offensively and defensively, especially as if he is forced to switch several times in Stealth Rocks. Plus my Mega Scizor's quick attack in the back should be able to finish off the game, but fortunately I do not get confused. I believe it didn't even knock me out in one hit, even with Hidden Power Ice from that range. Anyway, after the confusion damage, but here he's going to go into his Darmanitan, revealing to actually probably be a bit more of a bulkier variant with definitely adamant nature, as they do actually outspeed it. And he's just going to go fire off an Earthquake here, which doesn't even do a KO, so even if I get confused again and he Earthquakes, I still should be able to take whatever it's going for. But fortunately, my Zygarde does love me. It is going to snap out, and I am going to be able to fire off 1,000 hours, being able to knock out the Darmanitan, and meaning that we get a nice little 5-0 win with a on the back of a 6-0 Zygarde sweep. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. It is the final game in the regular season. So my next game will be playoffs, so make sure to go check that out to see who I'm playing and what I'm bringing for that, since it'll definitely be fun. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Just thank you guys for watching these videos.